You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
Yes, Pete, here's a nut for you. Now, don't bother me, if you please. I have work to do. I'd like to speak to Mr. O'Connor, please. That's right. I'd rather not say. It's rather personal. That's it, Pete. Stay on your perch like a good bird. It's a boy. Is this Mr. O'Connor? Mr. O'Connor, I'll get right to the point. You have a young gentleman working for you in personnel. His name is Brewster. Alfred Brewster? Been with your firm about 1.5 years? Well, I'll tell you what about it. The man is a communist. That's correct, a communist, with certain terrorist affiliations as well. Never mind who this is. Let's just say a concerned citizen, all right? What is of the essence is the character of one of your employees. I happen to know that this man, Brewster, is a subversive and a menace to our society. What am I suggesting? Why, I think it's obvious. I'm suggesting he should be discharged immediately, given his walking papers and shown the door. Never mind how I know. I know, that's all. That's all. Now I'm going to check back in a few days, and if he hasn't been discharged, I'll be forced to take this matter to a higher authority. That's right, to the corporate office. Correct? Goodbye, Mr. O'Connor. Rather a full day, Pete, wouldn't you say? 11 so far. 11 names on this list. I better sharpen my pencil. And scratch off one more. Of course, it's questionable what concrete results we can expect, but at least the seeds have been planted. Oh, yes. The opening guns fired. The first salvo, so to speak. Hello, Board of Education? Well, please connect me. Yes, I'd like to speak with the superintendent of schools, please. It's a personal call. No, I'm not at liberty to give my name. That's right, it's urgent. Is this the superintendent? This is a concerned citizen. I'm calling about a teacher and your employee. That's correct. His name is Farwell. William J. Farwell. He teaches at your North End High School. That is correct. The man is morally objectionable. He's a drinker, a carouser, and I have it on good authority that his relationships with students are questionable at best. The man should be investigated immediately. Oh, yes. Never mind who this is. I happen to be giving you facts, and that is what is at issue here. Well, you best check on him. You most certainly should, and without delay. Quite right. Here you are, Pete. There you go. That's a good bird. You know, I'm rather tired. It's been quite a full day. You don't realize just how tired you can get during a campaign. But a dedicated man isn't concerned with physical discomfort or fatigue or anything else for that matter. No, a truly dedicated person is interested only in victory, in the conquest of morality over the forces of immorality. Hey, look at them out there, the dregs, carrion, leeches sucking us dry. Oh, yes, carrying evil around with them like infectious germs. We're gonna have to face it sooner or later. Huh? Phone calls are one thing. Threats and exposure is simply expedience. No, Peter, my friend, we're gonna have to embark on a much more ambitious course. Some major surgery, I think. The long scalpel, honed sharp and cutting deep. If the sickness is extensive, so must be the cure. And it must be today, Peter. It must be today, this afternoon. 4 o'clock. Oh, yes, that's when it will occur. Yes, we'll make it occur at 4 o'clock. At that moment, we will destroy evil. That is both my charge and my obligation, Peter, to destroy evil. And we shall do it at precisely 4 o'clock. I'm not sure of the method yet, but it'll come to me. Oh, yes, it'll come to me. Most assuredly, it will come to me. And it'll be a revelation, an epiphany. It will be the expiration of immorality everywhere, the exordium of the end. 4 o'clock, Peter. That's when we'll have it happen. Whatever it is. 4 o'clock, this very day.
This is Mr. Oliver Crangle, a dealer in petulance and poison, a self-appointed, self-designated, self-ordained vigilante, whose jaundiced eyes peer out at an unholy world and find it undeserving of anything but judgment and punishment. And Mr. Oliver Crangle is both the judge and the executioner. He has rather arbitrarily chosen 4 p.m. as his personal Gotterdammerung. We are about to watch the metamorphosis of a twisted little fanatic poisoned by the gangrene of prejudice to the status of an avenging angel, upright and omniscient, dedicated and fearsome. Whatever your clocks say, it's almost 4 o'clock. And wherever you may think you are, at this moment you happen to be in the Twilight Zone.
And now, The Twilight Zone and our story, 4 o'clock, starring Stan Freberg with Stacy Keach as your narrator.
Yes?
Mr. Crangle?
What is it?
Well, there's a special delivery for you.
Just a minute.
Here you go. A whole lot of stuff, 8 or 10 envelopes at least.
Thank you, Mrs. Williams. Something else, was there?
Something... Oh, no, nothing else.
Then in that case, why do you stand there trying to read the contents of these envelopes as if you were an X-ray machine?
Me? Read your mail? Oh, I can assure you, Mr. Crangle, I have many more things to do than trying to read my tenant's mail. Your mail in particular.
I feel reassured.
You sure get enough of it. Somebody'd think you were running some sort of mail order business or something. Just look at that desk of yours. So much mail and papers and I don't know what all. What is your business, Mr. Crangle?
What I do is none of your concern. I pay my rent on time, and I keep to myself. A respect for privacy you should learn, Mrs. Williams.
Well, I never...
You never? That's good to know. Now, have you any more comments to air? Because if not, I would greatly appreciate your leaving me alone. I have a great deal of work to do.
I believe that. The question is, what kind of work?
You should believe it. You may thank me one day, Mrs. Williams. Oh, yeah. You and everyone else, assuming you're still around, and assuming you retain the capacity to feel appreciation.
What's that supposed to mean? Assuming I'll be around. Are you threatening me or something, Mr. Krangle?
Threatening you, Mrs. Williams? I don't threaten people, my dear lady. I compile files on them. I compile them, and I analyze them, and I investigate them, and then I categorize them, and I judge them. Oh, yes. If they're impure, they must be punished. If, on the other hand, they are simply misled or naive or unsophisticated, I point them to the right way. I lead them by the hand, Mrs. Williams. I show them the proper course, the path to redemption.
Is that... what I mean is that what you do for a living?
Indeed. In short, I check evil, Mrs. Williams, and I eradicate it, inoculate it, wipe it clean, and sponge it away.
And you know where these evil people are?
I most certainly do, Mrs. Williams.
Can you give me an example?
How about this one? Mrs. Claire Williams, age 54, widow, formerly married to John Alistair Williams. Political affiliation? None. Husband's political affiliation? None. Evidence of subversion? None. Negative personality traits? Curiosity and ignorance. Of course, that's just a preliminary report, Mrs. Williams. The in-depth research is in the master file cabinet right over there.
Well, aren't you the strange one? You ain't nothing if you're not a strange one. I'll be going now, Mr. Krangle.
Had your nap, Pete? All rested up, are we? Well, that's a good young parrot. It's going to be an exciting afternoon, Pete. Big things are going to happen at 4 o'clock. Yes, they are indeed.
4 o'clock? What's going to happen at 4 o'clock?
Interesting question, Mrs. Williams. A very interesting question. Very much to the point. What's going to happen indeed? At 4 o'clock, we're going to expose evil, strip it bare, push it out into the light, dissect it, pinpoint it, and eliminate it.
You are?
Exorcise it, denude it, confute it, destroy it.
Oh, now careful, Mr. Krangle. You're gone and broken your lamp.
What? Oh, the lamp. I see. Sorry. Well, no matter.
Would you like me to clean that up for you?
No, I'm quite capable of cleaning up after myself, madam. That's one thing I'm very good at, cleaning. Something else, was there, Mrs. Williams?
No, I don't believe so. If it's all the same to you, I'll be on my way. Saints preserve us.
Excuse me.
Oh, yes.
I'm looking for a Mr. Krangle.
I can't imagine why.
I was told he lives in this building.
Oh, he lives here, all right. There ain't no doubt about that. With a vengeance, he lives here right there at the top of the next landing. But if you ask me, young woman, you won't be going in there without police protection.
Is that right?
If you ask me, the man has a leak in his attic a mile wide. I ain't sure anymore that he's safe to have around.
Mr. Krangle? Mr. Krangle?
Well?
My name's...
Who else is with you?
Why, no one.
Are you sure?
Yes, quite sure. My name is Lucas. I wonder if I could speak with you for a moment.
Lucas. Ah, yes, Lucas. Kurt J., age 27, intern, East Side Hospital.
That's my husband.
Is he indeed? Well now. Your husband, you say. Come in, please. Come. Have a seat, by all means.
Thank you.
Now, what about your husband?
Why, Mr. Krangle?
Why what?
Why are you trying to hurt him?
Hurt? My dear lady.
What has he ever done to you?
To me? Why, nothing to me. That is, nothing personally. I don't know your husband, Mrs. Lucas. That is to say, I know of him. Oh, yes, I know of his background, but we've never met.
He's a stranger to you then, isn't he? He's a perfect stranger.
A stranger, yes, but not a perfect stranger, Mrs. Lucas. By no means. Your husband happens to be most imperfect. And when you perceive, quite correctly, that he's done nothing to me, at least not directly, I hasten to enlighten you. He nonetheless happens to have done a great deal against society.
In what way?
Ho, don't play dumb with me. Don't give me any of that naive stuff.
My husband, for your information, Mr. Krangle, is a dedicated young doctor. A gentle, decent, fine human being. He has only one abiding interest in life, and that is to cure, to heal, to stop pain.
And to kill.
How can you say such a thing?
Yeah, that's his other abiding interest, the one you've conveniently skipped. L-L-L-U-C Lucas. Here we go. I know his file well. Lucas Kurt J., M.D., second-year intern, Eastside Hospital. This year, on the night of March 12th, while serving in the emergency ward, he permitted the death of one Mrs. Angela Rienti by failing to relieve pressure accumulated as a result of a brain injury sustained in a traffic accident.
It wasn't his fault. It was too late. That's his only crime. He wasn't able to treat her because he was responsible for half the ward that night. And by the time he got to the woman, she was already dead.
That's your interpretation.
It's not an interpretation. It's a fact. It's exactly the way it happened. By the time he got to her, by the time she was put into his care, she'd already died.
He should have gotten to her earlier.
How could he? Do you know how many lives he saved that night? How many people he saves every day, every week? He did nothing to her.
That's about the size of it, Mrs. Lucas. Miserable dereliction of duty, resulting in the untimely death of a woman who by rights should be alive today. These facts came to my attention, and I simply called them to the attention of the hospital supervisor, an institution, by the way, which I help to support through taxes.
By what right? I must ask you, Mr. Krangle, excuse me, but by what right do you presume to pass judgment on my husband? You're not even a medical man. Why, you weren't even there that night. You don't know anything about it. And yet you write your letters to the hospital, dozens of nasty letters accusing my husband of being a murderer. Why, you wretched, small-minded...
Enough, Mrs. Lucas. That will be quite enough. I've suffered your presence here, but I'm not required to tolerate your abusiveness, although I don't wonder you're the type of woman you are.
Oh, and what type is that?
You're obviously greatly attracted to your husband, and there's no secret that birds of a feather, well, you know the rest.
I think I catch your implication, Mr. Krangle, and you're over the line. Way over the line. You're as cracked as that lamp of yours.
Tell me, has the hospital discharged your husband yet?
Discharged?
That's right. Let him go. Cashiered him out. Eradicated him from the payroll. Given him the sack. I've been expecting it momentarily.
They have not, Mr. Krangle. They have done no such thing. It'd take more than a letter-writing campaign from a crank like you to make that happen.
Your husband is an evil man.
He is no such thing.
And I will not put up with evil in any form.
And I will not stand by and allow an injustice like this. Of all the presumptuous, wrong-headed...
I'm sorry, Mrs. Lucas. I haven't any more time. Why, look at the hour. It's 3:00 already. I got things to do. Many more important things to do, thank you. Today's mail, for instance. You'd probably be interested in these. They're cases not unlike your husband's. communists, subversives, thieves, harlots, but all made out of the same metal. Evil, Mrs. Lucas, all of them evil, and I will not countenance evil. I am absolutely incapable of countenancing it.
You're probably unaware of it, Mr. Krangle, but my husband is a very sensitive man.
Oh, please, spare me.
Your letters have had an effect on him, if on no one else so far. The people at the hospital tell him to ignore the letters, forget about them, but they're tearing him up inside. They're killing him, his confidence in himself, his ability to concentrate and work. You see, he's like a lot of doctors, Mr. Krangle. He cares. He cares very deeply. So, you see, you really have been quite successful after all. I imagine you've been equally successful with other people, too.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much sanity still left out there for you to have succeeded in having them all fired.
Mm-hmm.
But you must be hurting them, those men and women, hurting them desperately, as you've hurt my husband. So you've really accomplished a great deal.
Yep.
Tell me, Mr. Krangle, if you can, that is. Why?
What's that?
Why do you do it? I really need to understand.
Why? You ask me why? Why? Because they're evil. That's it precisely. Nothing too complicated about that, is there? They're evil, plain and simple. Here, take a look out the window. All those little bugs down there, you see? Bacteria. That's what they are. That's what your husband is. All those little... That's it. That's precisely it.
What is?
That's what I'll do. I've finally gotten the clue. I said little, you understand? That's what I'll do. I'll turn all the evil people into little ones, understand? I'll make all the evil people, let's see, 3 feet. No, 2 feet. 2 feet tall. That's it. At 4 o'clock this afternoon, at precisely 4 o'clock, every evil man and woman will become a mere 2 feet tall. A revelation, an absolute revelation. Peter, my lad, did you hear what I come up with? Did you? That's it. Do you see the beauty of it, Pete? That's it. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. 2 feet tall, Pete. 2 feet tall. At 4 o'clock this afternoon, I'm going to turn all the evil people, the wicked, morally stunted troublemakers everywhere, into tiny little freaks for all the world to see. I'll make them all 2 feet tall. 2 feet tall, I say. Yes, it'll be better than if they wore badges on their clothing. Impossible for them to hide the purest form of poetic justice. Evil will be made an object of universal scorn, laughter, humiliation. Yes, you're not. You're hungry, aren't you, Pete? Here you go, boy. I won myself. We must be strong, the two of us. Strong for what's about to happen. That's right, Petey. 10 minutes past 3. It won't be long now. Yes, a peanut. Here you are. That's a good, strong boy. I'll bet you could crack open just about anything with that great big beak of yours, couldn't you? Yes, you could. I'm sure you could. Look at them down there, all those wicked little people. They don't know just how little yet. No, of course not. But they will. They will. It's their day of judgment. Oh, yes. Time to finish our preparations, Pete. There's much to do. Less than 50 minutes left now. Must be sure all our pencils are sharp. We have a great many names to cross off the list. Cross off the list. Soon now. Very soon. Yes, yes.
Oliver Kringle?
Come in. Yes, I'm Oliver Kringle. I'm the one who called.
Yes, sir. Agent Luther Hall, Mr. Kringle, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Our office received a call.
Indeed, yes. I placed the call and asked you to come. I felt it was my civic duty. Can I get you a cup of coffee or something?
No, thank you. Now, Mr. Kringle, you told the office that you had some sort of list, proof of criminal activity, and that today would be a day of reckoning. What exactly did you mean by it?
Sit down, please. Yes, there's plenty of time. We have more than 45 minutes before it happens.
Before what happens, Mr. Kringle?
That's the point. That's the whole point. That's why I called you here.
And why is that?
I felt the FBI should know. I also called the police and the fire department. I even got a call into Washington. Oh, yes. Although the latter message probably won't go all the way to the top. It's my understanding that the Reds are in complete control in Washington now. I imagine they've taken over the switchboards, too.
The Reds, Mr. Kringle.
Oh, yes, indeed, the Reds. It's a complete conspiracy, you know, Mr. Hall. All the evil people are banding together now, all the subversives, the commies, the terrorists, the thieves of the American dream. It's a total, absolute, worldwide conspiracy.
You said on the phone that you had a plan of some sort.
Oh, my, yes. It all takes place at 4 o'clock. I thought you people ought to know because, well, you'll have your hands full.
Our hands?
Picking up all the guilty parties. Oh, yes. You see, Agent Hall, I've spent a good many years doing this kind of work. Just look at all those file cabinets there. Years of dedication to the cause. I've made a study of evil. Oh, yes, indeed. A complete study of it. I cut out newspaper clippings. I listen to the radio and watch television. I follow every major court case that's going on. I compile a completely airtight list of charges against all of them, the evil people.
What do you do with them, Mr. Kringle?
Do with them? I follow through, of course. I follow them through to their conclusion. I write letters to employers. I make phone calls late at night. Oh, they hate that. Oh, yes. It's one of the most effective methods, as you probably know. Calling those terrible people late at night. The later, the better. Getting them up constantly. Waking them. Enumerating my charges. Speaking out. And then hanging up. They hate it. Very frustrating for them.
I'll bet.
Oh, yes, indeed. They go out of their minds with fury. They don't like to be awakened late at night, I can assure you.
Who does?
Yeah, but with these people, it's absolutely necessary. The evil people, you understand. The destabilizers. The enemies of order. But to get to the point, Mr. Hall... The point...
And what is the point?
The clock on the shelf there tells the story. The entire and complete story. It's 3:20 now. In exactly 40 minutes, all the evil people in the world will be reduced to half. No, a third of their present size. Oh, it'll be glorious. All the unpunished murderers and the tyrants, the proud and the sinful, the schoolyard bullies, the cruel teachers and faithless friends, the wrongdoers, blackmailers, and the nicotine fiends, too, and the thieves, and the harlots, and the transgressors, all of them, every one. How does that sound, Mr. Hall?
How do you propose to go about doing this? I mean, shrinking people.
I merely will it, that's all. I will it. I've been giving it a great deal of thought. Now, in the past, various other plans have crossed my mind.
Other plans?
Well, for example, I didn't approve of our entering any of the wars, you see, and I had it in mind I might take the stiffness out of airplane propellers. Do you understand?
I'm not sure I do.
Well, when the crews came out in the morning, bundled up like children against the cold, and then went into their planes, they'd find the props hanging limp like great empty banana skins. Then the war ended and, it seemed like a waste of effort at that point. After that, jets became the order of the day, and so I thought, what would jam up the intakes on those jet engines? Huh? What better than a flock of birds? Oh, not you, Petey. Not the beautiful, brave, loyal parrots of the world. Oh, no. Just your low-class country cousins. You read about it from time to time. Seagulls that get sucked into jets, cause them to fail. So, naturally, I thought, chickens.
Chickens.
Ignorant. Can't speak. An army of them bred to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. Release them on runways just at the moment of takeoff. That would ground those bombers and cargo planes, but fast. Of course, there'd still be trucks and overland supply routes. And then I read in the paper a year or so ago about an accident, a bad traffic accident. 3 people were killed. So I decided I would change all the wheels in the world from round to square, or maybe even triangular, so they'd stub in the asphalt and stop in their tracks.
You mean sabotage interstate commerce?
I devised another method later on. Terribly interesting, I thought. Mark all the evil people on the forehead, or better yet, turn them all one color. Say, purple. But then it came to me that they'd simply be able to recognize each other more readily and band together in their collective wickedness.
I see.
Well, Mr. Hall, this is hard to believe, but I hit upon this latest idea about the change in size just this afternoon. Some benighted woman was in here, and she quite inadvertently gave me the clue I needed. Make them all 2 feet tall. Now, what could be simpler? Think of it, Mr. Hall. Think how ineffectual this will render them. They can't handle delicate scientific instruments, or typewriters, or computers, or telephones, because they can't reach them. They won't even be able to open a window or turn a doorknob to escape once we know where they are. Why, pretty soon they'll be as extinct as dinosaurs. Here's a peanut for you, Petey. I think, Mr. Hall, that the most interesting place will be, let's say, a murder trial, where nobody knows whether the accused is guilty or not. And then at 4 o'clock, if he's guilty, or watching the drunkards in a saloon, or, there's so many places to be.
Mr. Kringle?
Yes?
I'd like to ask you a question, sir, and I hope you don't take offense at it.
Go on.
Have you ever had any psychiatric help, sir?
What?
Psychiatric help. I don't think you're rational. I think you've developed some kind of obsession here, and I think you need some help.
Help? Me? I need help? Why should I need help? I'm not evil. You obviously don't understand any of this, do you? I'm not the evil one. It's them. It's all of them out there on the street. Just take a look out the window. See? They're the evil ones. They're the ones who are going to be 2 feet tall. In just 30 minutes. That's when it's going to happen. In just 30 minutes.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Kringle, but there doesn't seem to be very much we can do about all this.
What do you mean? Why, the law enforcement agencies are going to have round-the-clock schedules from now on. Do you realize how many evil people you're going to be able to find? Why, they'll be all over the sidewalks, all over the streets. You'll have to build more jails. You have to build more electric chairs, gas chambers, gallows, penitentiaries. Well, what about it? What are you going to do?
Nothing, Mr. Kringle. Not a thing. And if you'll forgive a suggestion, that's what I think you should do, too. Nothing. These letters you write, these phone calls, there happens to be something in this country that precludes all that, makes it unnecessary.
And what's that?
Law, Mr. Kringle. There happens to be law. We like support from citizens. Support, help, cooperation. But interference is quite another thing.
Oh, I get it now. I understand. At last I understand. You're part of the conspiracy. That's it. You're one of them. Why, of course. I'm an idiot not to have realized it. Of course you people have gotten into the FBI. It stands to reason you would. You've infiltrated every other place. Well, I'm going to tell you something, Mr. Hall.
Good day, sir.
You'd better enjoy yourself for the next 20 or 30 minutes. You hear me? You'd better enjoy yourself to the utmost, because you're going to be 24 inches tall. You and everybody like you. All the evil people, everyone, you'll see. Good riddance to bad rubbish, eh, Pete? To all their kind, the righteous will rise up, and the weak will fall before their terrible wrath. It's as right as rain. In a minute, Pete. It won't be long now. Yes, here's your nut. It won't be long now at all. We must have everything in order, all our pencils sharpened, weapons that are truly mightier than the sword. And our desk, we must have lots and lots of clean paper to make another list of the newly exposed. Their corruption on display for all the world to see. I wonder what they'll look like down there on the streets, on all the streets everywhere. Oh, what a glorious sight it's going to be. So many people. Think of it. Fat ones, thin ones, the young and the old, suddenly grown too small for their clothing, which of course will no longer fit them. It simply won't fit them at all. Like the toads and the cretins they are. Someone should follow along behind and collect it in trucks, boil it in hot water, decontaminate it, and then redistribute it to the rest of us. Think of that, Pete. New suits, trousers, neckties, formal wear, tuxedos, this and casual wear of every style. Oh, yes, it shouldn't go to waste. Think of how much money could be made in resale centers across the land. Money to finance a whole new campaign. Why, Pete, we could open a chain of clothing stores. Aha! All we need is a fleet of trucks to gather it up. Ours for the taking. But alas, it's too late to organize any of that now. Oh, if only I'd planned ahead. Well, the least I can do is alert the media. Yes, that's the responsible thing to do. I wonder if they have any idea at all about what's to take place.
And at this hour, the Dow Jones is down 14 points.
Raging fire now under control in upstate.
The White House press secretary announced a peace plan today.
4-car pileup on the bridge. Motorists are advised to use alternate routes.
Come on down to Crazy Joey's Fashion Warehouse. We've got sportswear, clothes for the workplace, back-to-school duds, all at out-of-this-world prices. You'll think you've died and gone to heaven because my name's Joey and I'm crazy.
Another lost opportunity, Pete. But that man doesn't know how soon he'll be out of business. He has no idea, does he? No idea at all. We'd better check the television news while we're at it.
We'll have the weather for you coming right up after this.
The very vegger slices, it dices, it turns out finger-licking julienne potatoes.
Okay, now tell us about your new book, 101 Ways to Profit from Armageddon.
Amateurs. Pete, what to do? What to do? Of course I can send out press releases taking credit for all that I've done after the fact. If only I had more time. More time! Still, we'll have to alert them as best we can. Yes, put me through to the news department, please. Never mind who this is. Wait. This is Oliver Krangle speaking, Crangle. Yes, that's right. I'm calling with an important bulletin. Yes, for the afternoon broadcast. That's right. You ought to break in right now with a news flash, you know. Oh, it's something big, all right. Something huge. Believe me, it is important. When? No, you don't understand. It hasn't happened yet, but your viewers will still want to know when it does happen. Otherwise, there'll be chaos in the city. In fact, this should go on the national broadcast, coast to coast. What is it? Let's just say a new perspective on the world. Hello? 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 Petey, obviously they've infiltrated the local news channel as well. Of course they have. I should have known. They're everywhere, like insects, like vermin. Well, they won't be in control much longer, because Judgment Day is upon us. The strong will rise up to take what is theirs, while the subhumans are exterminated. It's the law of nature. But for now, there's precious little left to do, except make sure the clock is wound and to prepare ourselves for the occasion. Just try to be patient, Pete. Just a few minutes longer. Wait with me, and you'll see that it's all been worth it. I promise. But first, I must look my absolute best. Yes, top-notch, befitting a man of my stature. The reporters will swarm up the stairs here, wanting interviews. And there'll be photographers, of course, with their news cameras. Let's see here. What do you think, Petey? Perhaps a clean shirt and tie? My best shoes. I have to pass muster here. Meanwhile, you preen your feathers, my boy, and get ready to meet the press. There! It's happened, Pete. It's happening right now. This very second. Can you feel it? Something in the air. The next phase of evolution for the human race. Oh, nothing will be the same after this. Nothing! The new order has come at last. Yes, but first, I can't wait to see them all down there, turning into tiny little gnomes. Just 1 second, Pete, as soon as I take a look out the window. Certainly, Peter. You may have a nut, as many as you like. You must be hungry. I'll have something, too. We'll make it a celebration. This is our day. Of course, but you must be patient. I can't wait to look outside. I can't wait. But for some reason, I can't see over the windowsill. How can that be? I can't even reach the bowl of peanuts. I know you're hungry, but somehow it's just out of my reach. What? Unless someone has moved it, put it in a very high place. But that would have to be someone very tall. Someone very, very tall. Pete! What's happened? You've grown so large, and I'm so close to the floor. These shoes don't fit me anymore. And these clothes, whose are they? Must get out of this ridiculous costume. Pete, why are you looking at me like that? Your eyes and your beak. Close it. Please close it. You're not still hungry. You can't be. Pete, you're frightening me. You know me, Petey boy. You must. That's a good bird. Yes. Calm down now. No, Pete, no. Get away. Let me get out of here. I can't reach the door now. The locks. Let me out. No!
At 4 o'clock, an evil man made his bed and lay in it. A pot called a kettle black, and a stone thrower broke the windows of its glass house. Not a pretty picture, perhaps, but for this poor, misguided fellow, quite unavoidable. A simple matter of supply and demand. He was right about one thing, though. In a world where the strong get stronger and the mighty feed upon the weak, you can run, but you can't hide. Look for this one under F for Fanatic and J for Justice in the Twilight Zone.
Hi, this is Carl Amari, producer of the Twilight Zone radio dramas. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about our official website at twilightzoneradio.com, where you'll get the latest news and information on these Twilight Zone radio dramas. Plus, at twilightzoneradio.com, you can digitally download 3 free episodes or any of our episodes for only $1.95 each. In this age of ever-changing technology, we've decided to make these episodes instantly available to you by making the Twilight Zone radio dramas a digital download-only series. This means that this series will no longer be offered on CD. The CD collections at our website are now being offered while supplies last at buy one, get one free. So be sure to get your favorites before they're sold out. Be sure to visit us often, and I'll see you in the zone.
You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are those of imagination. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
There are only 3 questions worth asking. 1, where did we come from? 2, what are we supposed to do while we're here? And 3, what happens next? All the rest aren't important. It took me a while to figure that out. I didn't get it at first. None of us did. But then, who does?
What? Where am... Wait! Oh.
What in the...
Hey! Can anyone hear me? Is anybody up there? Hey! Can you hear me?
I had no idea how I got there. I must have blacked out on the way down because all of a sudden I couldn't remember anything, not even my name. There wasn't much light at the bottom, just a steady, even gray, like fog with the sun behind it, only very far away. The wall was curved a little and made of some kind of smooth metal. At least, that's what it felt like. There was only one thing I could think of. If I was a prisoner, I had to get out. So I started exploring, feeling my way along. But I couldn't find a door, not even an edge to grab onto, nothing. I stopped to get my bearings, and then I heard it.
Hooray! The fleet's in!
Who are you?
Oh, but it isn't the fleet, is it? It's the army. Then the army's in.
Why are you dressed that way?
What way?
The makeup, the clothes. You look like a clown.
You don't like my uniform? Oh, well, can't please all the people all the time. Nice uniform you have there. Hooray for the army! Tararabum-dee-ay! Attend hut! At your service. What are your orders, Colonel? General? Whatever you are?
I'm a major.
Oh, yes, I see that now from your collar. But don't fret about it. You can always advance, even in a peacetime army. Today a major, tomorrow a brigadier.
I wouldn't mind having you on the general staff. From major to brigadier, not bad. There's light colonel and colonel in between. You're generous, old sport. You're certainly
Problem?
No problem. It's just that,
Just that what?
A couple of small items seem to have eluded me for the moment.
Such as?
Such as who I am.
Why, you're a major. According to your uniform, that's what you are. And that is what you said. Or are you impersonating an officer? That's a very serious charge, you know. Impersonating an officer.
No, I am a major. Here's the insignia, so I know that much. But that's all I know. I must have been wounded or something.
You seem to be intact.
Then why can't I remember my name? I have no idea who I am. I don't remember my outfit or the action.
Action? Which action was that?
The engagement, the battle, wherever it was I got hit.
Who says that happened to you?
I must have been wounded. Or at least I took a bump to the head. Did you hear cannon fire? Troops marching?
Nothing like that, dear boy. It's been quiet as a tomb in here, which is restful after a fashion. Though it does get boring.
Well, something happened to me. I've got to figure this out. Wait a minute. What about you? That's a clue. Is there a circus in the area?
A circus?
What's with you? Look at yourself. The costume, the clown hat.
Oh, I see. There must be a circus because I'm a clown, and clowns go with circuses. Everyone knows that. I guess it figures, doesn't it? Or it should figure. A clown, a circus, an officer, a war. That's logical. Except that it doesn't figure. Not at all.
Why not?
Because, dear boy, there isn't any circus and there isn't any war.
Then what are we doing here?
Don't rack your brain. Accept it. The truth is, you're just like the rest of us. You wake up and here you are. No reason, no explanation. You just wake up and here you are.
Did you say the rest of us?
See for yourself.
See what?
Come with me. I should have introduced you right off. Meet my friends, such as they are. This one we call the bagpipe player, for obvious reasons.
Hello, laddie.
And this is, well, I suppose one would call him a tramp or a hobo, judging from his stereotypical appearance. A familiar sight no matter where one goes, wouldn't you agree?
Hey, pal, you wouldn't have a drink, would you?
And the most beautiful of us all, the ballet dancer.
How do you do?
How do you do? I'm...
Don't worry about names. They don't remember theirs either. Gentlemen and lady, I'd like to introduce the Major.
Hello.
Meet our collection of walking, talking question marks. 5 improbable entities who are all in the same predicament, trapped side by side in a pit of light and darkness. No logic, no reason. Just a prolonged nightmare in which fear, loneliness, and the unexplainable walk hand in hand through the shadows. In a moment, we'll start collecting clues as to the whys, the whats, and the wheres. We will not end the nightmare. We'll only look more closely into the shadows in search of an explanation. Because you've already fallen with them, headlong and without a compass, into an uncharted region known as the Twilight Zone.
And now, the Twilight Zone and our story, 5 Characters in Search of an Exit. starring Jason Alexander with Stacy Keach as your narrator.
The clown was right. One was a bagpipe player, complete with plaid kilt. The tramp was, well, a tramp by the looks of him. And the ballet dancer really was beautiful. She had on a white leotard and one of those little ruffled skirts. What do you call them? Tutus. The four of them acted like they weren't surprised to see me there. Not a bit. But why? Why weren't they? If you don't mind, would someone please tell me? Or is it a secret?
Tell you what, dear boy?
What do you think? What's going on here?
Going?
Going where, old boy?
I don't know. What are we? Who are we?
None of us know, Major. We don't know who we are. Each of us just woke up one moment and here we were, in the darkness.
But this isn't really darkness. Not quite. I can see all of you and you can see me.
It might as well be dark. The light, whatever it is, wherever it is so far away. I can't tell anymore if it's real or just something I'm imagining, because I need it to be there. Instead of
what?
Of nothing.
That's absurd.
Is it?
Each of you woke up, just like that.
Correct again. Give the man a cigar.
But how did you get here? What were you before? Who put you in this place?
You sure got a lot of questions.
I told you, Major. We don't remember.
Are you sure you didn't fall?
We may have. The memory fades after a while.
Well, that's how I got here.
Did you?
Yes, he did. He did indeed. I saw him. A nice pratfall, as a matter of fact.
Quickly, before it fades. What's the last thing you remember before you fell?
I don't know. I must be suffering from amnesia.
Oh. Then you're like us.
Time to join the big parade, Major. If you could find your hat and sword, you could lead us. Oh, what a splendid drum major you'd make. Followed closely by the clowns and acrobats, of course.
This is incredible.
Oh, isn't it? What a troupe we've put together. The crowd will love us.
But how did this happen? How could it?
That's the same question we asked ourselves. How could it happen? A question with no answer, Major. A question with no hint of an answer. At least, not a rational one.
Nonsense. Everything has an answer. You just have to find it. Consider all the evidence, sift through the clues.
Oh, isn't this exciting? Where do you want to look first?
It doesn't matter.
Of course it does.
Please, try to understand what I'm saying. It will be easier for you that way. We're things with no memory, no knowledge of what went before, no understanding of what is now, no knowledge of what will come.
How long have you been here?
Hey, it's part of the mystery, too.
We don't know nothing. At least I don't. You got any ideas?
No idea at all.
Then don't fight it. Live it or live with it. Know what I mean?
Whoever left us here must have a plan. How long will we be here until the next phase?
Now, that's a very good question. The best question of all. But, alas, no one has the answer.
You mean you don't?
Who else is there? We've discussed it like a proper committee, and we're no further along than we were at the beginning. Talk, and more talk. So I ask you, man to man, clown to officer, what's the point?
Sit down, Major. Conserve your energy.
For what?
For whatever the fates have in store. I suggest you listen to the beauteous ballerina and fasten your seatbelt, because we may be in for a very bumpy ride. Or then again, perhaps not. Perhaps what will happen is only more of the same. Perhaps we're all doomed to die of terminal boredom. Look at him. Active fellow. Very active fellow. Very much army, in other words. A man who has to do something, anything. A compulsive type. A regular worker ant.
Oh, you're a big-time psychologist now, huh?
By no means. I'm only a clown, which is neither here, there, nor anywhere. I could as easily be a financier, a certified public accountant, or a left-handed pitcher who throws only curves. What difference does it make? We're here because we're here because we're here. And what are you? You're an idiot. An energetic idiot, but an idiot nonetheless. You know you're wasting your time, don't you?
I know I want out of here. I'm not satisfied sitting around and heaving deep sighs. I just want out.
You have no monopoly on that, Major. We all want out of here.
I second that emotion.
Aye, but you're wasting your time. We've all gone around and around like bloodhounds with our noses to the wall. We can even give you the dimensions of the room.
39 feet.
Starting where?
It doesn't matter, does it? When you measure a circle, you may start anywhere. Am I right or am I right?
What's the height?
We figure about 40 feet to the top.
What's up there?
Oh, the sky, artificial light, maybe a fluorescent lamp, an illuminated microscope, you name it. One guess is as good as another.
You have made guesses, then?
Oh, all kinds. We could be on some other planet, or on a spaceship, or...
Go ahead.
Or we're all insane, and this is just a mirage, an illusion.
Oh, we're dead. Dead to the world.
Well, if we are, it certainly isn't heaven.
How do you know? It ain't so bad. I've been in lots worse places than this.
Limbo, then?
Quite possibly. All together now. Limbo, limbo, limbo like me. Limbo, limbo, limbo like me.
Or we really don't exist. We're figures in somebody's dream.
Cogito ergo sum. I exist, therefore I am.
Or each of us is having a dream, and everyone is a figment of someone else's imagination.
Lots of possibilities. Makes your head want to blow up, don't it?
That's one thing we have an abundance of. Possibilities. An infinite number of possibilities.
What about getting out of here? Anyone examine that as a possibility?
Have you? It's a solid wall. No crevices, no outjuttings of any kind. Nothing to hold on to or scrabble over or get your fingers around. Time to face the music, Major. We're trapped down here. There is absolutely, positively no way out.
A nightmare, then. That's all it is. A nightmare.
It is indeed. But whose? Yours? Mine? The Scotsman? The ballet dancer? Just whose nightmare is it? Can you tell me that?
It doesn't add up. Someone knows we're here.
Of course. We do.
I mean someone else.
Why do you say that?
They have to. You've all been here a while, possibly quite a long while. So someone must feed you, someone must give you water.
Yeah, well, you would have thought so, wouldn't you?
Don't go jumping to conclusions now, laddie.
Hold on. Someone must bring down food, or you couldn't survive.
There's been no food, no water.
That's impossible.
Oh, is it really?
In that case, we'll starve to death, or die of thirst, or...
That's the oddest thing of all.
What is?
Don't you understand yet?
No, I don't understand. Why don't you tell me?
Do you feel hunger, Major? Or thirst? Or heat? Or cold? Or fatigue? Discomfort of any kind?
Or anything? Do you feel anything at all?
No. No, I don't. But that doesn't prove anything. This has been a trauma. It's natural that I don't feel thirsty or hungry, not yet. I'm in a state of shock.
Close, but no cigar. You were born in a state of ignorance, educated in the school of hard knocks, and got your degree at the street corner university. Now you're ready to graduate to oblivion. What do you say? Let's break out the booze and have a bowl.
None of us have felt thirst or hunger or anything else since we've been here. And we've been here for an endless time, Major. I can tell you that. Time without measure.
What's wrong with you people? Have you tried shouting, calling for help?
Endlessly.
Well, then have you pounded on the wall like this to get their attention? I mean loud. I'm talking about taking off your shoes and really pounding. Have you done that?
Often.
Well, have you looked all the way around? Have you felt every square inch of the wall? Maybe there's a control button or a panel of some kind, a hidden panel, or a lever, something.
Yeah, sure. At the start, that's all we did. Hunted and searched and peered and felt with our hands. And you know what we found out? Sure you do. We found out that this right here, is the whole shooting match. This little room. What you see is what you get, Major. There ain't no more.
Stop! Stop up there! Well, are you going to tell me?
Tell you what, Major.
What was that? That noise?
It happens from time to time. A giant bell or something. That's what it sounds like.
Yes, but what is it?
Another question, eh, boy? One more question without an answer.
Oh, then this is a madhouse. That's what it is. A madhouse. You're all loonies.
You might be right, Major. But remember one thing. Whoever's ringing that bell, for whatever purpose, I think it would be safe to say that honestly and truly, absolutely and positively, it tolls for thee.
Hey! Hey up there!
It's no use.
Let us out! Let us out of here! What do you want from us, please? Just let us out! Are you okay?
Don't be afraid, Major. Take my hand.
Where?
Here. Please don't be afraid. In the beginning, it's hard. But after a while...
There must be a way. Something we can do. There has to be. This sort of thing just doesn't happen.
A few more like that, and it'll wreck my bagpipe.
You there. Girl.
What is it?
Why don't you dance for us?
Leave her alone.
It'll make the time pass.
A capital idea.
I'll play a tune.
I've already danced for you. It doesn't do any good.
Don't be modest. The Major's never seen you dance. How about it?
The Major doesn't want to see her dance.
Careful. You'll hurt her feelings.
The Major's not interested in passing the time. All the Major wants to do is get out of here.
And how do you propose to do that?
All right. It's smooth. Absolutely smooth. Unbroken. And high. Too high. Not even a place for a foothold. Nothing. That means we have to go through the wall.
With what?
Did you ever think of that, huh? A hole through the wall? Or what about the floor?
What about it?
If the wall is solid, smash a hole in the floor and tunnel out.
Easier said than done.
At least give it a chance.
We don't know how thick it is, the wall or the floor, or even what they're made of.
Then find out. Find out. Don't just sit there like lumps, like things, like mindless, soulless things, playing your bagpipe, telling her to dance. What's wrong with you? If this is a madhouse, maybe that's where you deserve to be, in a madhouse.
And what about you, body boy?
I think you're mad, all of you. I think you're out of your ever-loving heads.
I know you are, but what am I?
Try a hole through the wall, right about here. That's the first thing to do. Try to force a way through it.
Industrious, isn't he?
How about it, huh? A hole through the wall. See if we can get out that way.
That's very bright. Terribly ingenious. Highly imaginative. Incredibly inventive. Except for one thing. With what? With our bare hands? With our fingernails?
With this.
Why, wherever's your sword been all this time?
It must have come off my belt when I fell into this place. Here. Watch this.
Now you've gone and broken it, dear boy. Nice sword, I must say. Was it Sheffield steel or only pot metal?
No. I will not have this. I will not have it.
Major, please, Major, listen to me. After a while, it becomes easier. I promise.
I need to make a plan. I need to do something.
Perhaps Perhaps there have always been dungeons like this, and we've just never heard of them before. Maybe they're for the unloved. Maybe that's what we are, the unloved.
Don't let me hear you talk that way. Come here. Get a hold of yourself. Think. Don't be afraid. We have names. We're people, and that means we belong somewhere.
Do we?
There are others who care about us. You can count on that. Somewhere, somehow, we've got a life of our own, each of us, and people who care. And remember, out there. And we'll find them again. Together.
Do you really think so?
I'm sure of it. A tunnel. That's what we'll do. We'll dig a tunnel.
The boy simply doesn't give up, does he?
I've got it.
Got what, pal?
I know where we are. It suddenly occurs to me. It's funny none of you ever thought of it, but it has to be.
Where? Where are we?
Why, my dear young lady, how unobservant of you. When the whole thing fits together so perfectly, do you need me to draw you a picture?
Please tell me.
Ladies and gentlemen, it seems quite apparent, doesn't it? Absolutely unequivocal. We, all of us, are in hell. God help us. We are in hell.
Never say die, that one.
He'll come to accept it eventually, just as we did.
Let him be. If he gets some satisfaction out of banging a broken sword on the floor, well, let him have his fun.
At least he's trying.
He is indeed. He's been trying for several hours now. You can't help but admire that kind of persistence, even though it's a little like trying to empty an ocean with a cup, or count the grains of sand in a desert, or reach up to touch the stars. So, let him dip and count and reach all he wants. Of course, it won't help, but I fail to see how it could hurt under the circumstances.
It's metal, or the hardest wood I've ever come across. Circular, perfectly smooth, with no breaks anywhere.
All of which we could have told you some hours ago.
Which we did tell you, if you'd bothered to listen.
We've got to figure out something else.
Oh, do. Maybe we could wish it all away using the power of positive thinking.
That's enough.
Or bore through it with our X-ray eyes. Anyone have a laser beam handy?
I said that's enough.
Or make believe we're acrobats. You know all about that, right? Clowns, acrobats?
Most definitely. Alley-oop and over the top to freedom.
Now you got it.
Yeah, you got it all right. Dreaming and wishing, wishing and dreaming.
Hold on. Listen to the man.
Oh, come now. In the final analysis, this is all rather idiotic.
Is it?
It only requires a moment's reflection to see...
Why not?
Why not what?
What you said. Acrobatics.
A figure of speech, my dear, not meant to be taken seriously.
Isn't it?
I will grant you that we have somehow forfeited some of our human dignity, but we are nonetheless governed by human frailties, not the least of which is gravity. You may know some advanced acrobatics that I'm quite unaware of, but for the moment, unless you can find a circus gun big enough to launch one of us skyward like a human cannonball...
I see what she's getting at.
Well, kindly elucidate, if you please.
Don't any of you see?
Yes, of course.
One on top of the other, standing on each other's shoulders. What about that? It's the way they do it in the circuses, isn't it?
Is that query directed at me?
You're a clown, aren't you?
I'll ask one if I see him. I can assure you I may wear the costume of a clown, but I have no recollection whatsoever of having been one, if ever I was.
Then the only thing you ever were was a coward.
That's uncalled for.
Consider the consequences. We may not feel thirst or hunger, but the pain of a broken bone is quite another thing. We might very well feel pain, and a fall from, 10, 15 feet up, down to this hard floor, well, that's a sensation I'd as soon do without.
It's a chance.
With all due respect, miss, No, thank you.
She's right. It is a chance. Consider the consequences of not trying.
It won't work.
The weight will be on the first person, so I'll bear the brunt of it.
That light's too far away.
Come on. The clown on top of me, then the tramp, then the bagpiper, then the dancer. What do you say?
We'd never reach it.
Well, never say never. We don't know how high it is.
That's the point. We'd be exerting ourselves for nothing. It could be 100 feet up there for all we know, or 200 or 300.
But we got nothing to lose, right?
Why don't we sit down and have some entertainment instead? A much safer course of action.
Why don't we go for it? Come on, clown, up on my shoulders.
Oh, observation. Things were far simpler before you arrived. However, I suppose I must go with the majority.
Get a foot on my shoulder. I'll boost you up.
Careful now.
That's it.
My turn?
Not yet. The bagpiper next.
Give me a hand, laddie.
Use the wall for leverage.
I can barely manage, but it's holding. All right, miss, it's up to you.
How high is it? Can you see an edge or anything yet?
I'd guess 7 or 8 feet to the top. Maybe more.
Maybe less. Come on, I can't hold this weight forever. Go very carefully, one step at a time. You'll make it.
Thank God she's so light.
Whoa!
That's my nose you're stepping on.
Now stretch.
I am stretching.
All the way up. Now, what do you see?
I can't quite reach it. It's still, about 8 or 10 inches above me.
Up on your toes. That's it.
I'm almost there. Everybody straighten. All I need is a few more inches. No! No!
We were so close.
Yes, I think we were.
We'll try again.
Nonsense. We could have broken our necks.
But we didn't.
I, for one, am not trying it again.
How much farther? How much more would it have taken?
Only a few inches. I could almost feel it.
What if...
What if what? I respect persistence as much as the next man, but stupidity, that happens to be a waste of time. A useless expenditure of energy.
If we were just a few inches shy, if that's all it took, I could straighten up more on the bottom. We could each straighten an inch, 2 inches. That would give her the height she needs. Let's go. One more time.
My dear young warrior, would that you had not arrived. Things were so much more peaceful before.
Why not? We got something else to do?
Not that I can think of.
Please, I was so close.
And heaven help us all. Leave us give it the old college try.
Come on.
Right, steady now. Steady.
Okay.
Just a little more.
Okay, right. Watch the foot.
Okay, go.
This is as tall as I can stand.
Quite an exercise for the lower spine, I must say.
Now, young lady.
Here she goes.
Oh, there's a rim of some sort. Yes, I think I have it.
Now pull yourself up.
Hold on.
Yes, by all means.
I can't.
How's the leg, miss?
The knee's twisted, I think. But it'll be all right.
You were almost there. You had your fingers over the ledge.
A miss is as good as a mile.
Not in this case. A miss by about 2 or 3 inches? That's hardly a mile. This is what we do next.
Oh, share your plan, pray tell.
The same thing, without the dancer.
Then we'll be several feet short.
No, we won't. Hear me out. The clown, the tramp, the bagpipe player, and then I'll climb to the top. I'll tie a rope to the haft of this sword, fling it over the edge. Let it catch there like a grappling hook.
Now that's thinking.
Ingenious. But first, hadn't one of us better run over to the hardware store and pick up the rope?
He's right. There's no rope around here.
Strips of cloth. Torn from what we're wearing.
You mean tear our clothing?
It's a chance, and a good one. Yours has the most material. You said yourself you don't feel the cold. So give me those balloon sleeves.
The things we do for a man in uniform. 6 feet of excellent material, courtesy of Pagliacci, or whoever I am.
Good, but I need more. Twist it and start tying it together. Big knots. That's it.
Takes me back to my Boy Scout days.
Were you a Boy Scout?
Who knows? I might have been.
I got one question for you.
Aye?
What the heck is a Boy Scout? Anybody remember?
We're almost ready. Now this time, we make it. The rope tied to the sword and over the top of the ledge. It catches, and I'm up and out.
And then what?
We'll worry about that when it happens. Somehow, I will get you out of here. All of you. But nobody gets out until one of us does. Now that's logic you can live with, right?
If we live.
You, tramp. It's time.
Indeed. Leave us get on with it. I can't take this much longer.
Good luck, Major.
Thanks. I'll need it.
All right. Now swing that rope, man. You can do it.
Ride 'em, cowboy.
You got it.
Almost. Watch out below.
One more time, Major. I believe in you.
Second time's the charm.
Good show. I believe he's done it.
How does it feel?
Tight. I think it'll hold.
Then go!
Major, you don't know how spectacular you look.
At least the weight's off.
Quick, everybody down before we fall down.
Got the ledge. There. Yes. If I can pull one leg up. No.
Well, what's there?
What do you see?
Major, you've got to tell us. Where are we?
No. And I knew then what I had known all along but didn't want to face. Some things, I guess, are too fierce to handle in one bite. I heard the wind and I finally saw where I was, where we all are. I wished the four of them well. If you see my friends, will you tell them I love them? Because the truth is this. There are only 3 questions worth asking. 1, where did we come from? 2, what are we supposed to do while we're here? And 3, what happens next? All the rest aren't important. I didn't get it at first, but then, who does? Maybe it's better that way. No!
He made it.
I don't believe it.
I do.
A brave man.
Very brave.
But not a very bright one.
I wonder if we'll see him again.
He'll be back. I know he'll be back.
And then what, dear lady?
He'll come and get us.
You think so?
He may be back, but it won't be to get us.
How can you say that?
I'm beginning to get a feeling, and not a very nice one, I'm sorry to say. All the little details, they're starting to fit together. This place, our costumes, the bell. He may have been right at that.
What do you mean?
He may have been right all along. This may very well be a kind of hell. At least for us. One from which there really is no escape. No escape at all.
Look!
What do you have there?
I found it in the snow. Someone must have dropped it.
Oh, thank you, dear. Just drop it in the barrel there, would you?
He looks like a soldier, but his coat's all torn.
That's all right. Someone will sew him a new one. I'm sure he'll make some little boy very happy.
Wow, you got lots of dolls in there.
Not as many as we'd like. They're for the orphans, you know. But it's early and we've just started.
Can I have one?
Are you an orphan?
Well, no. But I like the ballerina. She's so pretty.
Oh, yes, she is, isn't she?
What's that on her face? See? On her eye. It looks like a real tear. Is she crying?
Now, why would she be crying? It's just a snowflake that started to melt. I suppose you could have her, if you promised to give her a good home.
No. I think I better leave her here.
Are you sure?
She doesn't want to go. See? She's holding hands with that soldier doll.
Why, aren't you the nicest little girl? Toys for Christmas! Toys for Christmas! Open your hearts, friends, and bring in your old dolls so the underprivileged little ones can have a happy Christmas, too. Help the Salvation Army. Dolls for Christmas! Dolls for Christmas! Dolls for Christmas!
Just a barrel, a dark depository in which reside counterfeit, make-believe pieces of plaster and cloth and plastic wrought in the distorted image of human life. But this added hopeful note. Perhaps they are unloved only for the moment. In the arms of children, there can be nothing but love. A clown, a tramp, a bagpipe player, a ballet dancer, and a major. Our cast of players on a very odd stage known as the Twilight Zone.
Hi, this is Carl Amari, producer of the Twilight Zone radio dramas. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about our official website at twilightzoneradio.com, where you'll get the latest news and information on these Twilight Zone radio dramas. Plus, at twilightzoneradio.com, you can digitally download 3 free episodes or any of our episodes for only $1.95 each. In this age of ever-changing technology, we've decided to make these episodes instantly available to you by making the Twilight Zone radio dramas a digital download-only series. This means that this series will no longer be offered on CD. The CD collections at our website are now being offered while supplies last at buy one, get one free. So be sure to get your favorites before they're sold out. Be sure to visit us often, and I'll see you in the zone.
Five Characters in Search of an Exit, starring Jason Alexander, with Stacy Keach as your narrator, was adapted for radio by Dennis Etchison and written for The Twilight Zone by Rod Serling, based on a story by Marvin Peddle. Heard in the cast were Kathy Garver, David Darlow, Doug James, Christian Stolte, Frenette Lebo, and Amanda Amari. To learn more about the Twilight Zone radio dramas and to obtain audio cassettes and CDs of these programs, visit our website at twilightzoneradio.com. This copyrighted radio series is produced and directed by Carl Amari and Roger Wolski for Falcon Picture Group. Doug James speaking.